Hi and welcome back to It's Miracle Beauty. My name is Brandy and I am a consumer viewpoint review channel. Today is Friday, so it is Full Face Friday. I am doing today's a little bit differently. Typically on Full Face Friday, I do a full tutorial and show demonstration, explain everything else. Because I am reviewing a brand that has been kind of reviewed to death and also under 30, if not under 20 category, I did still want to review it as an over 40. However, I didn't feel like everybody needed to see how it was put on. I feel like most of us have seen those videos before. So as you saw from the title, today I'm reviewing Glossier. I am doing it, again, non-tutorial, but I'm also going to do it. I'm going to start the products I wouldn't purchase going back. What I would personally pass on if I ever went and bought more from the brand. Then I'll do what is a give or a take. I'll get use out of, but I don't know if I love. And then I'll go into the products that I probably will continue to repurchase because they were amazing. So first thing on the plate is the Brow Flick. This is one that has been talked about for quite some time. This was probably one of the first pen brow products out, if not the first. I just don't know who for sure was first, but this is the first I ever saw. When I went to research them, I didn't find a lot of competition at that time. Since that point, a ton more have come out in a single wand, but also the ones that have 3 prongs. So those aren't me personally my favorite, but being as this was the original as I saw it, I thought I would try it, see if it changed my opinion, things like that. So I actually dislike this more than the other ones I've tried. I have the Urban Decay, I have some other ones, and boy, I could probably do a whole video on this one, but one of the things I don't like about it is it doesn't have a ton of pigment. However, it goes from no pigment to holy crap, you have blocky brows in like 2 seconds. Like there's no, okay, I'm getting enough, I probably should stop point. It's nothing and then it's horrible. Like there's no in between. I also felt, for me at least, I have pretty long brow hairs. I do have pretty naturally thick brows, and I found this very difficult to create brow strokes that looked like my natural, that would blend in with my natural brows. So for me, this one is just a no-go. I don't see a way in which I would be happy using this product. Next is the Sky Wash, and this one is in Terra. I actually really love the color of this one. I think the tone is perfect. It works good with my skin tone. The actual product doesn't work the way that I would desire my cream eyeshadows to work. So background, I have a lot of cream eyeshadow. I actually really like cream eyeshadow. I think they work fantastic. I think they're a great option, especially if you're wearing all cream, to kind of keep the same thing. But also I typically find that I get less of the noticeable creasing when I use cream. It sinks into the cracks so you can't see it as obvious. So there's so many pros and cons we could go through, but this one is, when you first put it on, it looks like it's going to be 10 times the shade you want. Like it seems like it's going to be super dark. And then it washes away to the point that you can barely see it. So then you add a little bit more, and then you add a little. Before I knew it, I think I had reapplied this 3 or 4 times before I ever got to my eyeliner. And then my eyeliner is not my favorite today, by the way, but I messed up on this side and I did have to remove my eyeliner to start over, which is an awesome fact. Again, with cream eyeshadow, it's easier to do, especially if you're using one shade. I always use concealer on my eyes. I completely forgot to put it on when I replaced it, and it literally turned like brick red immediately. So there's just a lot to it. I don't think you should have to use a primer. Through trial and error, I just figured out that I personally like to conceal my eyes. If you conceal it, the color takes a lot to build any form of color. If you don't use the concealer as a primer, then it comes on even darker than this lid. I mean, it's like really crazy, and it's uneven blend as well. It doesn't go on smooth. Like with the concealer, it went on very smooth. I was able to blend it out and it looked fine. Without the concealer primer, it just didn't look right. It just was an issue, is all I'll say. So this one, I will use it. I will get my money's worth. Same with the Brow Flick. I'm going to finish them until they're gone. However, it's a situation where I won't repurchase this style from them. So just to show you what I was talking about with the Sky Wash, is that's what it looks like when it first goes on. And then as you massage or blend or do anything, it does get very faint. And for me, that, even with my fair skin, that's barely where I'm at. Like it's just blended away. So that to me just wasn't worth it. And then the last one, I almost put this in my kind of could give or take category, and then I eventually decided to put it in my not gonna buy category, and I'll explain why. So one of the reasons I was gonna put it in the give or take category is, one thing I did love about the product is I could use before powder or after powder. It didn't have to be when you have cream base on. So that's something I love in any cream, a highlighter that works well for me. There are a few key ones, and not to bash any brands, but Benefits, I have trouble going over powder. I'm trying to think. I think that's the only one that's coming to mind right now anyways. But this one does go well. I put it on my hand and then patted it in before and after, and I was able to get a highlight that looked fine. So this one, you have to, I personally feel you have to make your hand to warm it up, but then it is so quick absorbing that I put a really just generous portion on the back of my hand after I had done powder and went to do it. When I came back, it was dry. There was nothing there. So just to show you what this one looks like, I'm going to show you before. Looks like that. And it does look like that. It's very hard to see on the camera. Oh, there it goes. So it's just one that absorbs too fast. I like that it's a subtle highlight. I like that it looks like a natural glow, but you're wasting a ton of product if you have to keep doing that and keep reapplying it. The other thing is a lot of times I do like to add my highlighter to my eyes to add just a little bit of a shimmery or glowy thing. This wouldn't work on my eyes. It kept removing my makeup. It kept doing a lot. It did just keep messing up my eye makeup. So I finally just abandoned that idea. When you're buying a cream product that is this expensive, if I can't get duality out of it, it's kind of a waste for me. Now we're moving into the category of if I didn't need them or if I had cheaper options, I would go that route. And the very first one that I would mention does go to the rosebalm.com. This is the Universal Skin Salve. I did mistakenly, and this was my mistake, not theirs, pick up the rose flavor, which for me is just abhorrent. I hate anything rose smelling, tasting, anything. Whew, it literally gives me hives. That and patchouli oil are the two things in life that I just can't deal with. But this one, it also didn't do much for me. Like, it did moisturize my lips. I did put it on while I was doing my makeup, and it did moisturize my lips, but it's no different than any of the lip oils I have. Any of the things, I mean, my Ulta lip oil I think was $12.99, and it moisturized it better than this. So for me, this is a non-addictive product. I would not repurchase at this price at that point. So the next one I'm going to talk about is their Generation Sheer Matte Lipstick. The box does look like this, and the lipstick does look like this. Again, I will give you a look, and I will swatch. It does look like that. So this is more along the lines of, I can't even compare it to the new one by Fenty, the Lip Slick or something like that. I always forget the name of that one because this one is so firm, but then you put it on, it has no color. I literally like went around and around and around trying to just like get color to stick to my lips. Once I was able to get it to a point that I did like it, it did look really good. It had more of a matte versus glossy, but it wasn't like a dry matte. It looked moisturized. So the amount of money you're going to waste just trying to get this to work, to me, makes it not worth it. And also I find myself, I don't migrate to a formula. I don't like the formula. I'm not going to migrate and be like, oh, I need to use that up. That's going to be the thing that sits in the back of my drawer. Next, I'm going to do the Lash Slick Mascara. It does look like this. It has a wand similar to Thrive Cosmetics. I mean, there's other brands that do this, but this reminded me in particular of the Thrive. So this is one, I did not use any primer at all today, and my lashes have fell, but they still have definition and they still look good. I think with a lash primer, this would work okay. The idea of this, and I think the big thing with Glossier is you have to think about what is their goal in that product. Are they looking to give you full coverage, big, fake lash looking mascara or any of that? And that's not Glossier. Glossier is your face, but better. And this is one that I think with a primer, I could definitely use on my natural days. I definitely will get use out of, but it's something I wouldn't repurchase. It's not a horrible product, but it's not what I personally am looking for. I honestly was hoping it would be perfect for my natural days, but I just, in using it, it cakes easier than the brands I normally use for my natural days. It definitely doesn't just automatically work. And then also it's a situation where you have to work at it a little bit more. I like the longer bristly brushes that grab your lashes, whereas this you have to kind of fight with it. And for me, I want to have the smoothest experience. I don't want to have to maneuver or finagle every time I use a product. One that is on the more positive end of the could leave or take is the Cloud Paint. This is a seamless cheek color in Beam, and I am going to swatch this as well. So it does look like this. And it does look like that. And if I swatch that out, it looks like that. So it is a very pretty wash of color. It's not meant to be potent. It's not meant to be super pigmented. It's meant to be just a wash. I actually think these are probably the most pigmented product I use of Glossier today. Well, there's one other one, but I'll explain later. My issue with these, and the reason that I more than likely would never repurchase these or aren't likely to without a good sale, is due to the sheer fact that there are so many cream blushes out today that actually have a great amount of pigment, work great, and everything else that you can get at the drugstore. So for me, it's not that there's anything wrong with this product, it's the price tag in the competition that it is out there. Next is my last one of the could give or take category, and that is the skin tint. This is probably one of the most well-known products from Glossier's line. It is meant to be sheer coverage, not light coverage, sheer. You are not going to see any covering of freckles or moles or anything else, acne, things like that. For me, this is like the dream team of being over 40 when you want light or sheer coverage, because this has almost like an oily consistency is what it feels like. It goes on very easy. I did use my hands. I did notice a smoothing of my skin color. That was about it. And for me, that was perfect, especially since the pandemic has started and we've started wearing masks more. I'm not looking to wear full coverage foundations every day. I'm not looking to have cake and mess when I take my mask off. It's not always guaranteed. Like an example is when I leave work that I'm going straight home. Sometimes we need groceries or whatever, or actually you wear your mask in the grocery store. That's not a good example. A better example is when I go through the drive-thru, and our local drive-thrus have these little things that they push out. So you don't actually touch or come close to anyone. So I don't wear a mask when I go through the drive-thru. And I have like cake mess where my mask was, and so it's really nice to have sheer and light coverage during that time. This for me as a give or take or leave is because one, I can't go pick it up when I run out. So it's a situation where this may not be a long-term product for me, but if it were, it would be frustrating to have to order and wait because my Glossier order did take a little bit to get here. It wasn't an unacceptable time frame, but I personally like things I can buy on the fly, and where I live, there are no Glossier stores. It's kind of a petty complaint, I realize, but for me, that's ease of use is for me. I'm not always the most responsible about reordering things, and so that's something that does affect me. The other thing is I feel like this doesn't give much of an appearance difference other than less coverage, but how it feels and how my skin settles with it than my NARS, what is that called? Their tinted moisturizer. It has a specific name. I can't think of what it is. And there's that something skin too. It's not skin tint, but it's something like that. It's their tinted moisturizer. That for me is probably my number one low coverage, you know, tinted moisturizer, skin tint, anything like that. And for me, that just kind of replaces this, because if I'm already going to buy that for when I want light coverage, I'm not going to go buy an extra one when I want sheer. I'll just use that. I mean, obviously I will finish this up, but I don't think it mechanically did poorly. I don't think that it did anything other than what I expected to. I actually think it did a really good job on my skin, but it's just something I don't see me repurchasing because it didn't knock my socks off. So my favorites, other than the last two, these next four just don't really have like a order. It's not like, you know, there's 6 items remaining and this is 6, 5, 4. It doesn't do that. These next 4 products are, I would definitely purchase again, and I definitely like, and they're in any order. So the first one is the Glossier Priming Moisturizer. It is a buildable hydrating cream, and it does look like this. Look like that. So I have super dry skin, and for me, this was pure hydration. In fact, the back says, I love reading this, it cracks me up. After cleansing, massage dollops of the cream into your face using upward strokes, up and out. Apply more where needed to prime for makeup or life. So I thought that was cool. So this is one that I felt did a great job of moisturizing my skin. If you again have oily skin, I wouldn't suggest this one with this unless you need extra moisture, because I think it could cause you to be more oily. Again, just my opinion, I don't have oily skin, but just when I used it, what I noticed, I can't imagine having non-dry skin and that being necessarily a good situation. I found this to be positive in every way. The only thing, like literally the only caveat or negative I could give, and again, this obviously is in my good category, my great category, it didn't deter me, but is the scent. I do just detest the scent. It was horrendous when I was using it. I don't know what the scent is from. I couldn't even pinpoint to tell you what it smelled like, but that I couldn't stand. But I did love the way even on my under eye, it really moisturized, and I loved it. So that's definitely one that I would repurchase. Next one is what is this called? This is called the Pro Tip, and this is in black, and this is their black eyeliner. So this is what I'm wearing today. I realize my eyeliner probably isn't giving the best evidence to this thing because it was a challenge today. I redid this right eye twice. I couldn't get it to even kind of look like step cousins. So this one I think has a learning curve, and that's why I had to redo it so many times, and why they aren't necessarily my favorite eyeliner I've ever done in my life. Is it actually has a really, really pointy tip, but it's not oversaturated. And typically for me, I find most like liquid eyeliners have oversaturated tips a lot of the time, and so I'm like finding myself like wiping them off before I use them, or they don't have a super fine point. And so the combination of a drier tip, and it's not dry, but it's drier than what I am used to in my perspective, So having the combination of a drier tip and then having it being ultra like pinpoint precision. Actually, I'll show you. It is like, come on, okay. There it goes. It is very pinpoint precision. So I do feel like, depending on what you currently use, it does have a learning curve. But I feel like it is very, very black. I feel like it's not that questionable. Where is it a carbon gray? Like, what is it? It is very black. The only negative I've found is, and I'm not sure if it's going to pick up on camera, but I've actually lost coverage on this wing. Like, I've touched it up quite a few times, but it's almost like it's flaking away. I haven't found any flakes on my face, but I know that this was solid black just 20 minutes ago, and now I'm losing it. Normally that would deter me from a liner. However, one of the things I have done recently that I really like is I've been putting a shadow liner down first with a powder, then I do my liquid over it, and I personally find that my liquid stays better that way, or the contrary, I do my powder over my black eyeliner, so it does keep the powder straight. So this doesn't really affect me either way. I just left it that way so I could point it out to you. If I had done a countdown on these, I theorized this possibly would be the top of these middle four. Again, I have two favorites that will be last, but that is the Boy Brow. I honestly was really impressed with this. I have heard people talk about this for quite some time. I mean, I would say minimum 2 years. I don't know when it came out, but I'm guessing I would say 2 years. And I just thought, you know what? ColourPop makes one for $7. I'm good. I'll stick with ColourPop. And that's literally what I did because they look similar. They had similar packaging. I could do that. I've recently strayed from that one. It's not that I think it's bad. It's that it just didn't necessarily fit my needs as my brow game evolved. And this one, oh my goodness. The minute I put it on my brows, I was like, ooh, I like that. It's not overly colorful or pigment in the sense that it makes it look like you have black brows, but it does give it color and it does give it control, which I really like. It is like a bazillion degrees in here. Thank goodness we're getting to the end of the countdown. So next is the lip gloss they have. Let's see, does it have a certain name? So they just call this the lip gloss. That's like their name. And then this is in holographic. I don't find it to be holographic at all once it was on my lips. I mean, like, I'm not seeing any sparkle at all. It's purely just gloss. I again ordered this style by mistake. I actually wanted the clear gloss, but I'm not disappointed. I think it looks good. This is definitely one I will keep using, and excitedly so. I think it looks really good. So now to the main event, which I guess technically there's 3 products, but 2 are partners. Like, they can't really use one without the other. So I will put those together. So the second to last product, or my second favorite of all of the Glossier, is the Wowder. This Wowder is amazing. I've heard people talk about it and I honestly thought they were exaggerating. This is what the actual powder looks like. I just thought they were exaggerating. And then this is the powder brush that they sell. You can buy these like in a kit together, and they actually reduce the price slightly than if you bought them both separate. It does have a net, which I know some people, I feel like this is a love-hate relationship. People love it or hate it. I personally, I'm just meh. I don't get angry when I see it like that, but on the same hand, I don't flex towards those either. But this powder has an ability that I just never thought I'd find a powder that did. I put it on my under eye and it immediately like smoothed it out, but didn't make me age 100 years, which so many powders do. And I purposely put it under my eye just to test it, because to me that's a real test. But I also used it on the main areas of my face because I knew I was going to be, 1, out here where it's 100 degrees. We're having a heat wave in September. And 2, I knew that I wanted to just test how it looked. And I do want to test this with full foundation, because if my theory is right, I think it's going to look really good. This is one that it did not cake. It was very easy to use as a finishing powder or a setting powder. I did use 2 different techniques to test that. And I just really like how it does not make my face look powdery, but it's also the touch and the consistency when you feel it. It's just a totally different sensation than most powders. It doesn't feel like you're putting a batch of dryness on your face. Like, it feels like it's just adding to the effect and adding to that look that you're going for. So honestly, I was really, really impressed with that. And then this one, when I saw it on the website, I almost didn't purchase it because, and I purchased these, I think almost 6 months ago. It was, I think, when I was still working at my old job, and I kept like wanting to come and do these, and I didn't want to do it on camera because I was intimidated because I had never used the brand. So I kept like pushing it back and pushing it back. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about trying different things on, Full Face Friday. So let's try it this way, a full face of Glossier without putting it on. And then once I'm used to it, if you guys did want a tutorial style, I would be willing to do that. there's some learning curves to some of their products. I mean, I hate to say that because it's such a light coverage, but it's true. There are some products that just, take a little bit of different technique. But back to the brush. So this, because of the way that it is thin this way and it's got a little bit of a point, it goes in your under eye like perfect. Like it just fits perfect and doesn't add excess powder, and you're able to get up in your inner corner without affecting your eyeshadow. And then it also makes it so it's great for your cracks of your nose and your smile lines and things like that, but it's also the density of it. It's got a good density that it holds powder but doesn't make it cakey. So again, not a necessity by any means, but I'm honestly really happy with it. And then the star of the show, this would be the Stretch Concealer. I do have G12, which is the lightest shade. It does come in a jar like this, very similar to, think, MAC Paint Pro Prat, NARS Soft Matte Concealer. It does look like this. So this is one, again, I had heard great things about, but knowing that Glossier specializes in light coverage and me having very dark circles, which I did not use any color corrector today, which is apparent and not apparent all at the same time, but because I do typically use color corrector and it was light coverage, it was kind of one of the things I leaned away from the most, which sounds funny considering where it's at in this list, but I just didn't have any urge to kind of jump and do that. Every time I saw a video, I'm like, yeah, it looks good on her. It's not going to look good on me. That's not what the attraction for me for this product is. It does have pigment. It actually has more pigment probably than anything here, with excluding the cloud paint. That's very pigmented. It is pigmented. It does have it. If I didn't have deeper circles, they would be disappeared by now. But they're especially deep right now. But what for me was the pinpointed attraction is the amount of moisture this gives your face. I was stunned at the difference on my under eye when I put this on, and it wasn't, again, because of the pigment. Even though it does have pigment, it was due to the fact that it literally, even though I had just primed, just put eye cream on, all these things, it literally just like put a wash, and it did hug my lines and kind of push them out and smooth them out. Now, my lines are already back because I do have naturally creasy lines. When I was 17, I had creasy under eye. I mean, it's just genetic. That's what I have. But it did smooth them and make them look really pretty, and I honestly was very impressed by that. I felt like it's been a long time since I used a concealer that didn't dry my eyes and do that. So I feel like I have moisturized that do nothing for my under eye lines, and then I have very matte, very drying, very firm ones that do something for my lines. Typically make me look horrible later in the day because they're so dry. I finally had to give up using Tarte Shape Tape because unfortunately it's a situation where it might look good on someone much younger than me, but for me it dries my under eye and it doesn't look good. I have very dry skin and it accentuates everything dry on my skin. So to have something that is extremely moisturizing, I mean, like, I can't say enough, this felt more like an eye cream than a concealer. I mean, like, far on that end, like really far. Like, here's concealer, here's eye cream. It was like right here. But on the same hand, gave me some pigment and some coverage and made my under eye look good. That for me is a win. So this probably will be my new favorite concealer. I'm going to keep trying it, obviously, but holy cow, it was it's been a long time since I've had a first impression that really affected me and made me want to continue using it on a daily basis. I literally rotate to a different product almost every day unless I have a challenge going. And for me to stick to something does surprise me, I guess is the point. Now, it could be that in 3 days I have something that I don't like and then I switch again. But I haven't had the urge to continue using something after a first impression in quite a while for concealers. So that is my full face of Glossier with my countdown as to my favorites from least to favorite. If you have any questions about my experience in these, just let me know down below. Also let me know down below, do you prefer this technique or would you like the tutorial style or a mix of both? I am trying to just experiment, see what works for the channel, see what I like doing, what you like to see, and it helps when you give me feedback. And then lastly, about if you've tried Glossier, give me your favorite product that you've tried from them. If you have not tried them, are you interested in trying them? Have you, been wanting to order one product or products in particular? So that is it for today. If you guys like this, I hope you will like, share, subscribe, make sure you ring that bell for notifications, and I hope you have a great day, and I see you again soon.